The FBI and the whole Department of Justice have a number of tools that they use that are just calculated to get anybody prosecuted or threatened, credibly threatened with prosecution. And once they do that, it's very easy to turn any average person, any average law-abiding person, into an informant. They find somebody that they want to turn into an informant. And what they do is they ask to interview the person. And when they interview a person, they always have two agents. Why two agents? One of them does the questioning. The other one takes notes. Then the agent who takes the notes goes back and types up what's called a Form 302. And that form is the official record of what it was that the interviewee told the agent when questioned, when interviewed. The problem is that those 302s are notoriously inaccurate. But what they do is they kind of tie the witness to the story, not that the witness has told, but that the agent has typed out in the Form 302. Now, why can't we have an accurate record of what the witness said? Why can't the agents record the interview? Well, the deep, dark secret is that there is an FBI policy, an official, formal policy, that the FBI agents will not interview a witness if there is a tape recorder going. The FBI has doggedly fought to keep this regulation. They will only do their interviews with an agent sitting there taking notes and typing up a 302. There is a very pernicious, much abused federal statute known to we lawyers as Title 18 United States Code Section 3001. That's the infamous false statement statute. It says that anybody who is talking to any employee of the federal government, you know how many millions there are, and that includes, of course, FBI agents and federal prosecutors, commits a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison if he or she makes a false statement, lies. Mind you, this is not under oath. This is just sitting there with an agent. The 302 form is the official record of what you said. So if later on you are being asked to be a witness or an informant or whatever by the FBI or by the Department of Justice, you then have a version of what you thought you said, and to you that's the truth, right? But the agents will say, oh, no, no, no. When we interviewed you, you said this and this, and we can prove it. It's in the Form 302. It's been typed up by the agent who is taking notes. And that version in the Form 302 is almost invariably favorable to the FBI and favorable to its purposes. If they're looking to use you as an informant in order to get somebody else or as a witness, the official record is that you said such and such, even if you didn't, and even if you claim you didn't. Eventually what will happen is you have a choice. You either tell the truth, testify the truth if you're called before a grand jury, for example, and be charged with lying to the agent because the agent has a report that says you said such and such, you're testifying differently in the grand jury. Obviously, one of them is untrue. You're now a perjurer, or if you lie before the grand jury, or you are guilty of 1,001 false statement if you were lying for the agent. In other words, they have you in a vice. Once they have you in a vice, then they can have you do anything that they want. You are their servant. I have had numerous situations where a client has said, the FBI has called me, they want to interview me. I said, fine, come on to my office. I call up the FBI, I say, come on in, you could interview John Smith at my office. They come in, Naturally, it's the two agents. It's the interrogating agent and the secretary. And I then pull out my recorder. I put it right in the middle of the table. I said, okay, let's get started, guys. And they said, well, you'll have to shut that off. I said, well, actually, no, this is my office, so I don't have to shut it off. So let's go start the interview. And they'll say, well, we're not allowed to do this interview with a recorder going. I said, oh, really? Oh, that's really too bad because I'm not shutting it off. So we're on tape now that my client has offered to speak with you, and the only reason that you're not speaking to my client is because we will have an accurate record of what's said. But I'm very sorry that you have to leave. Bye-bye. And that's the end of it. That's the only protection that you have in dealing with these agents. And most people, however, are not represented by counsel at the stage that they're visited by the agents. They give an interview, and even if they're totally honest, they then become the servants of the Federal Bureau of Investigation because they've got you where they want you. That's why, the advice we lawyers give, don't talk to them, is not cynical advice. It's very realistic, practical, and correct advice. And that's how, and once they get you where you act as an informant, they then get you to entrap somebody else into saying something. And the scenarios that are built up, the FBI, they're experts in this. The scenarios can make anybody look guilty